My name is Martine Coutu. I'm the SIU Executive Director, and I've been on board for 11 years.
And I'm Valérie Guillet. I've been with the SIU since 2003, and I'm Congress Director.
The Board of Chairmen of the SIU are not natural-born risk-takers. Indeed, they could fairly be described as careful, cautious bunch, not given to making a wild decision on a whim. So when in 2009, they chose Fukuoka on the hot and humid island of Kyushu for their 32nd Congress, more than a few eyebrows were raised. For the first 60 years, the meetings were traditionally held every 3 years in Europe, with a few exceptions, New York in 1939 and 52. Then, with more country representatives joining the society, it became more and more international, with Rio in 1961 and Tokyo in 1970. The SIU Congress had not been back to Japan since then. As of the new millennium, SIU Congresses were held every 2 years. But by only holding the event biennially, it was felt that we were in effect missing on industry support being in the picture 1 year and out of it the next. So in order to make sure that SIU would receive sustainable industry support, it was decided at the board meeting in 2009 to go annual after Berlin in 2011. In July 2009, we went off searching a destination for our new 2012 Asia-Pacific rotation and visited 3 beautiful cities, Osaka, Yokohama, and Fukuoka. In preparation for this site visit, an RFP was developed and a list of criteria established to fairly evaluate each potential host and also to improve and facilitate the decision process at the board level, which was somehow deficient at the time. After a careful evaluation and comparison of the proposal, Fukuoka was selected by board decision in October 2009. We were in for a fantastic 3-year journey preparing SIU 2012, also marking the centennial of the Japanese Urological Association. 2012 was the start of the new generation of SIU Congresses. We were additionally privileged to find in Professor Seiji Naito from Fukuoka the perfect leader to chair the local organizing committee. We asked Professor Naito to share his perspective on some of the highlights of organizing this meeting. Let's hear a bit of it now.
From 1998 to 2015, Professor Seiji Naito served as professor and chairman of the Department of Urology, Graduate School of Medical Sciences, Kyushu University, Japan. A native of Kumamoto, Professor Naito has dedicated his professional career to the field of urology as an educator, a skilled clinician, and a mentor to many. Throughout his career, he's been active in numerous prestigious Japanese, Asian, and international associations, and was the recipient of several distinguished awards and citations on lifetime achievements. In 2012, Professor Naito was instrumental in bringing the SIU Congress to Fukuoka, where he took on the role of local organizing committee chairman. Professor Naito has served as SIU president from 2015 to 2016 and is currently our immediate past president.
Thank you for having accepted our invitation, Professor Naito. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with the SIU over the years leading up to Fukuoka's bid to host SIU 2012?
When I was appointed to the presidency of the Japan Urological Association, JUA, I had a plan to invite international event of celebration to mark the 100th annual anniversary of the JUA. So I consulted with Professor Hirao, who is one of the board of the SIU, and he kindly suggested me to nominate Japan as a candidate of the SIU Congress 2012. So if it becomes actualized, it will have been 42 years since the last SIU Congress in Tokyo, Japan. And indeed, it becomes a very nice event to celebrate our 100th anniversary of the JUA. So therefore, I decided to invite SIU as a host city.
The March 2011 earthquake and ensuing tsunami in Japan brought up a series of questions. We had planned a second site visit for April 2011, but when this natural catastrophe occurred, needless to say, we had concerns about traveling so soon and worries about the possibility of keeping the meeting in Japan. Still, it was very important for the Society to promote the message to our members and participants that we were in solidarity with our hosts and that there was no question the Congress would remain in Fukuoka. So we went.
As a global organization, we rotate our Congress through the Americas, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. So for us, doing things differently is what we do for a living. When we lay the basis for cooperation in a destination, whether it's with suppliers, with local authorities, with local urologists, we go in there knowing that there will necessarily be things that we'll have to handle differently from one year to the next. So when we began our journey to Fukuoka, we went into the partnership mindful of cultural differences, of different expectations, of subtleties in priorities and contexts, and clearly not expecting to find the same business practices that prevail in other parts of the world. We're a group who, I would say, has a keen awareness of what it means to do business in very diverse parts of the world. But we have to say that our experience in Fukuoka was hugely instructive in terms of reading situations and contexts, making sure that during the negotiation process we remained mindful of what our counterparts' goals were. Even though we didn't have any magic bullets, and we often would come to a standstill in negotiations, with trust and good faith and the best interests of the Congress in mind, we always eventually reached a mutual and beneficial solution. Communication is key in any business context, but learning to negotiate and fully grasp the other party's stakes in non-confrontational and consensus-building ways was as enriching for us as it was challenging. If you're wondering what's in this picture, it's breakfast for our board of directors, cornflakes and salad. To this day, we've never figured out whether to pour milk or dressing on it, but the fact is that we'd forgotten to order catering for the meeting, and this is what the convention center put together for us at the last minute as a Western-style breakfast. So we had some beer in our office fridge, and we made some coffee, and everyone had a good laugh at the creative, collective ingenuity. It's a challenge to work within unfamiliar practices, and truth be told, the Fukuoka Congress was very generous to us in this particular category. At the SIU Central Office, we're completely equipped to perform all PCO functions. And we take on 100% of the financial risks since we're able to control the process from start to finish. The Convention Center didn't have a contract in English, and despite numerous requests from us to have it translated, it never happened. So we held a meeting without ever signing a contract with the venue. I challenge everyone in this audience to top that one. As a non-Japanese organization, we couldn't sign any contractual agreements with hotels, so a company working in tandem with the PCO had to handle this aspect on our behalf. When we began negotiations with the venue, we found out that the hire included the walls, the floors, and the ceilings. There was no electricity, there's no air conditioning, no garbage collection, no operations coordinator, just one set of keys to open and close, and one very small restaurant. Rental times were also a major source of dissension. It wasn't simply a 12-hour hire period adapted to the program. It was from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening, and any spillover in either direction was billable. Similarly, planning a shuttle schedule between the hotels and the venue proved to be a bit of a puzzle. Our concepts and methods of operating were as foreign to our suppliers as theirs were impenetrable to us. But by dint of patience and communication and lots of map drawing, we did reach a workable solution that wasn't inexpensive, but it did allow our delegates to go to and from their hotels to the Congress. The venue in itself posed a challenge because it was actually comprised of not one, but 3 distinct buildings. The first had the exhibit hall, the second one was an amphitheater with the plenary hall, and the third had our registration, the smaller meeting rooms, and our offices. This physical separation was very difficult to bridge, and I can't say that we succeeded in doing that. Despite having coffee and all kinds of activities in the exhibit hall, calligraphy, karate, gaming, posters, videos, you name it, delegates just didn't want to walk the 5 minutes from the main building to the exhibit hall. But in the end, nowhere else in the world could we have left so many loose ends, like not having a signed contract. We had integral trust in our Japanese hosts, and despite any misgivings that we could have held based on our Western and rather legalistic outlook, we just had to let go. Some things we weren't going to be able to control, and better to practice Zen than to fight that. Professor Naito had given the board his assurance that the Japanese Urological Association would be able to recruit 800 urologists to register for the meeting. Let's see how that happened.
Can you describe the strategy that you employed that brought over 750 Japanese urologists to Fukuoka for the meeting?
Yeah, as I told you, I was president of the JUA. Therefore, it's easy to promote the Congress to the Japanese urologists. And also, as a president of the JUA, I have many friends in the neighboring countries, such as Korea or China. Therefore, it's easy to promote the Congress to urologists or in the East Asia. And of course, the collaboration and the good communication between the SIU Japanese branch and local PCO and your SIU staff's official SIU office. That's very important to make a Congress to the success.
2012 was a milestone Congress in many ways. Fukuoka hosted many international Asian meetings, but the SIU was one of the first few global congresses to visit the city. Reviewing our association wish list for support, I suspect the Fukuoka Convention and Visitors Bureau had no idea what it had gotten itself into. As part of their in-kind support, the Convention Bureau branded the city with our logo and also funded cultural performances for SIU Night, our major social event included in the registration fee for all participants. Despite being a young organization, the Convention Bureau was instrumental in establishing and facilitating relationships with city officials and local partners. We had the privilege of welcoming